The Dramatic, Artistic and Literary Rights Organization is a multi-purpose copyright organization which focuses on administering copyright for dramatic and artistic works, including plays, musicals and visual arts, and for literary works such as books, poems, newspaper articles. Well, this morning we look at how the organization grants copyright users permission to use copyright-protected work while ensuring that copyright holders are remunerated by the copyright users reproducing their works. Well, we're joined in studio by the Managing Director, Lazarus Sirobe. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning.
How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Good, thank you. I mean, let's start with what DALRO is. I mean, I've just spoken about it in the intro, but in layman's terms, what does DALRO do?
DALRO, as it says, it's a dramatic, artistic and literary rights organization. It's an agency that manages the copyrights of literary writers, book writers, playwrights, musical writers and visual artists in the secondary market.
Yeah.
So when these people use their works that they have created, these people have created in the secondary market, i.e. make copies or reproductions of the works that have been done. That has to be done with the author's permission, and therefore we manage that on behalf of the author.
Yeah. So how does
the publishers?
Okay, sorry about that. How do then authors get a hold of you, or how does that speak to us about that relationship between the two parties?
Yeah, so we do various ways of getting in touch with authors. We advertise, we go to workshops at festivals, at art festivals, at book fairs, wherever we can find them to enlighten them about our presence and how we can assist them in the management of their copyrights. Yeah.
What is the response from the creative industry to what DALRO does?
The response is good. DALRO has been around for many years, and most relevant people know about it, and we have a lot of authors signed up with us. We obviously don't do music. People always confuse us with the music CMO, but we are not. We simply do text and images, as we call it here. But they are aware of us, and obviously there's always new ones that we need to get in touch with. We need to make ourselves available to and accessible to. There's always, so we go to universities, we go to colleges and tell them about what we do, and that they need to protect their works if early enough. Yeah.
What would you say are some of the biggest challenges facing the organization?
Probably at the moment, technology.
Yeah.
You know, the digital world, as great as it is for consumers, has become a huge challenge for the management of rights, because we've seen PDFs of whole books being shared on Facebook, on WhatsApp groups, without the authors getting remunerated for this. So you can imagine sometimes it takes years to write a book, especially academic books, textbooks and stuff. And then to lose that at the spur of the moment because one person just creates a PDF and sends it around the world, and that's the end of it for the poor author. So that's a huge challenge at the moment.
How do we even get around it? Because I can imagine, like you said, you know, it takes one person sending a WhatsApp, then it's gone.
Yeah.
What do we do to mitigate the situation?
Education. I think most of the time people are not aware that what they're doing is infringing. I mean, even corporates do it. You know, they see the face of the CEO on the front page, make a copy of that and copy it through the organization to say, hey, look at us. You know, that also requires permission. You can't just do that. So education, but most of the time people don't know. So that's one of the things we're trying to do now, to educate people to say, DALRO can make it easy for you. If you think that you may be infringing somebody's right, call us, ask, and we'll tell you if you are, and if anything needs to be done about it.
Is the message getting across, though? You just said about, you know, education and how people need to know, but is the message getting to the right people?
We hope so. We certainly are working hard at getting into the right people, but yeah, it's a big world, and sometimes we don't often get to where we hope to get to. Yeah, but we just have to keep sending the message out.
Let's talk about payment and how does that even work? So a register, you've got the copyright, how does that work?
So an author would obviously, having written or painted a piece of art, will then publish it And then by publishing means that made available to the public. So once it's made available to the public, it's then copyrighted. They don't have to register. Copyright doesn't need to be registered with anyone. But we always advise, especially literary writers, to send us a copy so that we can keep it in our archives and so that we know about it. And that in itself is enough. Once that is then used, like at the universities, as I'm sure you know, the study packs, which are extracts of books, multiple books put into one pack. That is, the university has to get permission for that before they create a study pack. And they do. Universities do get a permission from us, and then they will pay for that. We collect the royalties and transmit the relevant fees to the relevant author.
And going forward, what changes would you like to see, so that we're doing things differently for the next generation of writers? And,
it starts with the law, I suppose. The Copyrights Act, it needs to be strengthened. It needs to be made tighter, such that people then are discouraged from infringing authors' rights. And that's what we've been lobbying for with the new copyright bill, which unfortunately we don't think goes far enough to protecting the rights of authors. And that's where it starts. People then also that once people are then found, what then? The penalties. Increase the penalties for infringement, so that people become aware that some people commit a crime. When you do that, it's actually a crime. There's no better way to put it once you copy a whole book like that. It's depriving an author of their livelihood.
And which other aspects of this Copyright Act do you think needs to be tightened more, apart from prosecution and what then happens after that? Which areas specifically are you more concerned about?
Specifically then reporting. So that when copyrights are used, then it is the user's obligation to report and make reporting itself and non-reporting itself an infringement. That will go a long way. Especially that speaks to the big players, the corporates that do the infringement, and the institutions rather than the lowly single man on the street.
And do you think corporates are the biggest contributors to this?
Oh yeah, they are. Often corporates, as I say, they will copy newspaper articles. They'll copy the Harvard Review, for instance, for training in their organizations without permission. That's an infringement, and they should be getting permission.
All right. Sir, thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you for opening our eyes this morning, talking to us.
For the opportunity.
Dalrol grants copyright users permission to use copyright-protected work while ensuring that copyright holders are remunerated. We just spoke to Dalrol Managing Director Lazarus Serobe.